Oh no, I might be dead. He's doing the thing, and I am not fully capped on health. Game design. So who wants to do that entire cutscene again? You know, the like several minute one? So how are you doing today? Yeah, there are a lot of bits about the actual design of the engine that are just not good. Like, when you get hit, you are interrupted for an amount of frames that is usually right about equal to how often an enemy is liable to repeat attacks on you. That is further broadened by how much startup delay there is on an attack. Like, you just holding your weapon out, preparing a swing, rather than like before it actually contacts. Which varies wildly by weapon, too. So a lot of things can just hit you and hit you and hit you, and the only thing you can do is you do usually have a decent window to run away. That's the main saving grace of it. But generally speaking, the frame data favors the enemy far more often than it favors you. And I guess that is their way to get around the fact that enemies aren't dangerous. But that just makes it not fun in two different ways at once, because the enemies aren't dangerous, they're just irritating because they keep hitting you and you can't hit back. While they're, you know, mashing you for one over and over and over. And they can do that out of your own combo. The 3-hit combo for sword and staff and I guess anything with a combo. Sorry, I keep bumping the mic because I'm not used to it being close to me now. Usually there's an extra wind-up between the second and third hit, but the second hit doesn't have the extra hit stun to accommodate making sure you have the window to get that hit in. So it's very, very easy to get interrupted out of your own combo, which makes no sense at all. Doubly so if your second attack misses, because that just makes it even more free for them to get a hit in on you. But yeah, for how much, like, incredible amount of concept and neat, like, design things there are in this game, there's just about as much, actual in-practice design that's just not very good. Like, they have seriously added so much to add, like, extra depth and layers and purpose to different things. But that's completely countered by the fact that the base experience just isn't very fun to do very often. Like, when it works for you, it's fine, but it very often is engineered to not work for you. Like, I would be fine if we started here. Like, if there was a save point after that first cutscene, where you just can go in the door and fight the boss. That would have been cool. That would be fine. I would have no problems there. Other than the fact that it's a point of no return there. So, like, I guess they would need a save point there and a way to hop back. Like, even this is a lot of cutscene to redo. Just this dialogue with Julius. But that on top of the 5-minute preamble, you know, everybody's hearts are with you thing. Yeah, that would be cool. Like, if that can't kill you because of the sword or something, but it puts you at 1 and you're immediately at risk of getting killed. Like, that's really the problem with bosses more than anything in this game, like, overall. They don't have enough health to actually make you care about dealing with their attacks. And they accommodate for that by making them do too much damage, so that if you don't do it right, you just die. You can very easily get bursted down on basically any boss. I like this attack, where you have to figure out where he ended up to know where the attack's going to come from for real, but it takes too long to resolve for it to actually, you know, have that aspect of prediction and Twitch reaction. Like, if he quickly created 8 images and you had to detect which was the last one that came up to know where the attack was coming from, that could be cool. But when they appear, like, a full second between each one, and they resolve with a full second between each one, and then he starts doing the first part of a long attack, once the others resolve, there's nothing to that. That is just there to be there. It's like a director said, you need to have the attack be like this, and then the person actually programming the fight said, okay, now it has this, but they just had the absolute basic to fit that requirement and nothing else. Stop being poisoned. Stop being not hitting. This is the magic. I'll entertain it. No, I won't. I'll do one. Just wait for the switch back. Stop that. You are a Jew. There we go. That's some... is suddenly very fast. He's actually caught up with the damage I've been doing to him. Oh, whatever. So the strat is just take the first 2 hits and don't care, and then, after that, we are not going to entertain the poison, and after the second hit wakes you up from the sleep of the first one, completely erasing any challenge that might have been encountered, you run away from the third hit and heal, and you're perfectly safe. Also, I'd just like to say that the impact of that skill is very not cool or, believable. There we go. Way only to prove that the only reason I lost the first time is because I'd probably missed a couple too many hits. In time for you to do a second cycle of your garbage attack, and that's not a good boss. But it's like a lot of bosses in that game. They just kind of float. They have these flying enemies that just float around the top of the screen and don't do anything to you for long periods of time. And then eventually they'll do some kind of lame swooping attack that hits you once and isn't really actually threatening. The last words are just, alright, I'm off. Very, profound. He's oof. So, overall, my feeling with this game is there's so much potential for something cool here, but the last time I said that was with FFL 3, and that game got a really low rating because it, yeah, they're like, they've name-dropped so many games, they're even name-dropping games that aren't out yet. If the narrator says Dawn of Mana, I'm tossing him out the window. But the problem with FFL 3 was it had a lot of wasted potential, and it dragged it down to the point where the game just wasn't enjoyable for the most part. It was mostly wrestling against the mechanics to try to keep it relatively stable. That's not really true here. It's more just like mildly irritating because of the little things that drag it down over what is otherwise still a pretty good experience. So I feel like the total for this game is still over average, but not much. Maybe average, I'm not sure. it's really close to neutral, possibly a little above neutral. Most of what draws me to the game is I really like the idea of its stat growth and class system. Is your O key having a problem? Like, if the game didn't have a cool system of being able to, like, put together your own build for your character, I probably would not be nearly as invested in it. Like, that really is one of the things that draws me to it the most. Also, as an aside, the classes themselves with the bonuses, not actually very important. They're good bonuses, especially if you pick ones that play well into how you want to build your character, but like many of the things, it's like, yeah, this could be a nice added bonus, but it's entirely not necessary. Like, the geodes to increase the total level of your spells, and let's see, what other things? The crafting and tempering system. Those are all like, yes, this is a decent benefit that gives a very visible increase to my potential output, but it's completely not necessary. Like, you could go the entire game without taking the classes, especially not going after very specific, most beneficial ones. You could go through the whole game with the basic weapons, and it wouldn't really change much, because the growth from stats still really dominates how you build and how that build comes to fruition. They're just like a bunch of little additors that, yes, they are... You can demonstrably show that they are increasing your character's potential, but they aren't necessary. It's like the feeling that they're so very, like, extra and not, like, major parts of creating and building your character is part of what makes those feel underutilized or unrealized, I suppose. So there's just like a lot of little things that they added but didn't put enough into to make it worth really being there. Like, compare it to, this is a totally out of left field example, but compare it to like the blacksmithing in RS3. That's like completely not required and side and stuff, but you get very clear and decent and steady major increases out of fostering that and growing it as much as you can. It's not so here. Like, all the other systems are just there. You don't really have to do anything. You're completely fine if you ignore them. They give you bonuses, but they're just bonus. It's not like... It's not going to change the world or anything. Anyway, I guess that was mostly the thing. Like, this game takes a lot from every other Mana game, and that's fine. You know, it's a remake. It nods a lot to itself and not just the game it's remaking, and that's good and fine and honestly preferable. But I felt like they kind of had too many cooks going on. Like they had to add every single thing. By the time they added every single thing they planned to have in, it was just kind of a mess of too many things. Like, we're going to inject all these other characters for no incredibly important reason other than to have them there because they were in the series and stuff like that. Like the SD3 villains that they put in, they didn't really have a reason or purpose for doing that. Their characters could easily be completely written out of the game and nothing of particular substance would change. Like, they're just there to say things indicative of what their character is like, and that's about it. But anyway, I've basically said all that I think about the various rights and wrongs with the game already. I would just be, going on about things as I tend to do at the end of games. So I'm gonna cut myself short there because it would just be reiteration and needless expansion of thoughts. But yeah, I'm sorry about the really bad internet hiccuping I had earlier. I don't know what was wrong, but I just gave it a little while and it was fine. But it was completely untenable at the time. It's all right. It passed. That's what's important. Anyway, tomorrow is getting into RS1 remake. I don't know too much about it, what's different and what's the same and all that. So it'll actually be interesting to me to uh, go in fresh and basically blind on it, other than my experience with the first game, to see what happens. But yeah, that should be neat. I'm looking forward to having that as a blind comparison piece compared to like this, where I already knew the game fairly well because I played through it several times. Uh, but yeah, that'll be tomorrow. Hopefully, it will go well. Hopefully, it'll be uh, more conducive to progress than the first one was. But yeah, as always, I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's always nice to have people around and everything. As I always say, but I don't just say it to have like a sign off or something. I say it because I really do appreciate uh, not just playing games by myself. Having people to hang out with. 'Cause I'm not a very like socially articulate and active person, and this is kind of like my way to have people around for what would otherwise just be sitting by myself and not doing anything other than plodding away at a game and probably not finishing it. But yeah, thanks for coming out, everybody. I hope to see you again next time. Have a nice evening and take care. Oh, a thing is happening. Hold on. Hello, Kokobo. Hi.